This hour by Frederick Remington, fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. Exclusive, no refrigeration, 10-year extended shelf life bacon. The thickest, meatiest center-cut bacon in the industry at fullycookedbacon.com.
The stocks discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering on acting on information, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice.
What kingdom has sent you?
The kingdom of the Most High.
Nothing you have ever experienced can prepare you for the unbridled carnage you're about to witness. The Super Bowl, the World Series, they don't know what pressure is. In this building, it's either kill or be killed. They make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. 1 minute you're up $500,000 in soybeans and the next, boom, your kids don't go to college and they've repossessed your Bentley. Are you with me?
The Genesis Communication Network is proud to bring you Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week elf, Mark Leibovit, welcoming you on board his financial time machine. And here is the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday, November 11th. Always a pleasure having you join us on a Saturday morning. Obviously, I'll have other choices on a Saturday, but here we are, and we have a lot to talk about. It's been a wild week with the Trump tax plan up and down, along with the markets, and we just have a little concern here about what the market may be doing into the new year, but we'll talk more about that as the show progresses with our guests. Meanwhile, as you may recall, I am one of the former elves on the old Louis RUKEYSER Wall Street Week TV program. I used to be involved with Paul KANGAS for 30 years as a market monitor guest on Nightly Business Report. I publish vrtrader.com. If you want more information about our newsletter, please go to vrtrader.com for more information. Also, the show is archived at gcnlive.com, so if you do miss any of the shows, please go to gcnlive.com to pick up any of the missing programs. And we do broadcast here every Saturday morning live to 10 a.m. Eastern. Well, I'm going to jump to our first guest, our always very special guest, Henry Weingarten, who's been very patient on the phone and waiting to join us. Henry is the managing director of the Astrologers Fund. He combines both fundamental, technical, and astrological indicators to call the markets, and he's done a terrific job for us here over the years, and we always enjoy having him on the show. Henry, thank you again for joining us on this Saturday morning, as you always do.
Thank you. My pleasure. Well, a couple of points. First, let's talk about oil. Oil reached our Q4 target of 57 plus. We've locked it in. Even though we're bullish on energy next year and think we'll see 65, we got our numbers, so we're not sticking around too much, at least in terms of the physical energy. So at 57, we're taking profits or writing calls here, although energy stocks have more to run, and I do think it will be higher next year.
There might be some premium here, right, Henry, with regard to what's happening in Saudi Arabia with that purge over there? That could be what this is all about.
Well, no, it's about the astrology that we said Q4 would be strong. But in any case, it doesn't matter what it is. We have our numbers, and we're happy. Okay. The second thing is the market lost some of its astrological help last week, which is one of the reasons the market went down. There are others, of course. And at 23,500, we would have a pivot point, which means we went short. Now, we don't think the market can drop more than 5% before the end of the year, so it's not a big deal. We may be stopped out very quickly on that. Effectively, we are, by the end of the year, we'll have a maximum cash exposure, whatever it is, and it's different for different portfolios. We'll be fully hedged 1-to-1. And we don't know whether the people will take profits at the end of December, whether they'll take it in January, or whether they'll wait all the way to May, because the really big correction probably isn't until 2019. So there's a lot of ways to play the market, including trading, but the market's too high, perhaps 8% high, but they may only go down about 5%, and we don't really care what happens because we have our profits for the year, and if it goes up, that's nice. If it goes down, that's nice too.
Okay. So if we do get a little shakeout, it could happen between now and the first of the year. Is that what the stars are saying?
No, we may not. I don't know. I don't have enough. We don't have any extra information. We had extra information, which is why the market stayed up until the middle of the week. And then so it's really whether people want to take profits. There are reasons for the market to stay up even though it's overpriced, and there are reasons for it to go down. And, we can trade it on a day-by-day basis. But in terms of profitability, the market was up about 25%. That's really substantial. And when it's more than 20%, you really have to lock in profits regardless of what happens. And there are a lot of ways to lock in profit. I don't know what they're going to do, but I don't really care.
All right. I know you do care about the gold market. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on there.
Yeah, the gold, every time they sell gold, it's ridiculous. Gold is worth $380 some odd dollars, $1,380. They keep hitting it around the 1280 pivot. And as traders, we'll buy it continuously. We hold on to the stocks. We're not adding to our positions, but we're certainly holding on to it. And as traders, when it goes down, we buy it.
So what is our support level on gold here, in your opinion?
1250 is a strong one. Basically, when we get to that 1270 area, it's a buy. 1268, 1272 is a buy. Unfortunately, they don't want to get above 1300 where it belongs, and where we think it should be, I say should be, doesn't mean will be, by the end of the year.
Okay, great. Henry, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. If you want more information, go to the Astrologers Fund at afund.com, and Henry will be back with us next week, and have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, as we all know here, the market has been a bit volatile, and it seemed to have been topping out a little bit on this tax plan story, and we'll see if that accelerates or not. My own models indicate that we could be under a little bit of pressure here, and Henry indicated the possibility only of 5%, if assuming that even happens. Of course, the markets have been rigged, as they have been for decades, and there is a plunge protection team out there, so we don't know if we're going to get any kind of meaningful shakeout, but the trend has been up, probably will stay up, and the pullback, no matter how severe, is a buying opportunity looking out. Meanwhile, we had some nice moves this past week. We just discussed crude oil with Henry. We got up to $57.92, and we could be having perhaps even a $5 or $10 risk premium in here due to what's going on in Saudi Arabia with those political purges underway. So technically, it's extended. I'd like to see a pullback of $5, $6, $7 in crude before I'd be a new buyer of it. We did trade it on the long side. Gold is, again, finding a little difficulty around this 1290 area, but if it can clear 1300, we're probably well on our way to the upside. And the U.S. dollar has been a problem for the gold market, though there's always instances where gold and the U.S. dollar could rally together. In this particular instance, dollar has been strong and gold has been held back a bit. So let's watch that dollar-gold relationship. And I'm pretty much bullish on the U.S. dollar for a while until we get a clear overall trading signal that says you got to get out. Short-term, a little pullback in the dollar perhaps, but I'm still looking into next year. I think you're looking at higher prices there. Meanwhile, a lot of action in the Bitcoin market. We've been talking about this Bitcoin for several years, and we trade that GBTC. I just got some accolades from one of my clients that I was talking about that GBTC when it was around $100 a share, and it got up to about $900. So we've been trading it all the way up, and we're looking for pullback here in Bitcoin and GBTC as a possible trading entry point. So until that happens, we're going to, sort of lay low there a little bit. It's really getting extreme here, a lot of bullish enthusiasm, and we got to really catch the shakeouts if we're going to be playing that market. What I'm really hoping for is that an ETF starts to trade, and of course those futures are going to be trading pretty soon on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So there's going to be a lot of action still in the Bitcoin, and I feel it's here to stay. I don't think this is any short-term bubble, as many are indicating that it's just here and it's going to go away. We've got countries, even Russia's talking about creating its own currency. Some companies are talking about creating it. We've been following a couple of companies that have been talking about that possibility. Japan legalized it. So this is something you just got to think about that could be changing the world here in terms of currency, in terms of the way we do business. So don't touch your dial. We're going to be back with a very special guest after the break, and we're going to talk about the upcoming marijuana show in Las Vegas.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
This is Dan Pillett. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Attention type 2 diabetics. If you or a loved one has taken Invokana, Invokamet, or Invokamet XR or other inhibitors for type 2 diabetes and suffered amputation of the toes, feet, or legs, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA has warned that Invokana, Invokamet, or Invokamet XR and other inhibitors for type 2 diabetes cause an increased role in amputations of the toes, feet, and legs. If you or a loved one has taken Invokana, Invokamet, or Invokamet XR or other inhibitors for type 2 diabetes and suffered amputation of the toes, feet, or legs, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-475-7607. That's 800-475-7607. Again, 800-475-7607. Call now. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. www.injuryhelpdesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original and most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the Internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Actual testimonials from real Numana customers.
I've tried all kinds of food storage, and Numana is by far the best.
I'm a single mom with 2 teenage boys and a full-time job. I don't always have time to cook a 4-course meal. That's where Numana has been such a blessing. I can spend less time in the kitchen and more time on what matters most, like helping with homework.
Find out for yourself. Order online at thepowermall.com. That's thepowermall.com. Numana is
the stores I love to eat. Yum!
Thepowermall.com.
Think positive. Never show any sign of weakness. Always go for the throat. Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy's problem.
Welcome back to the Wall Street Raw Radio Show with Mark Leibovit, your time machine for the financial markets. Want to know more? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Now, here's the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday morning, November 11th, and we're very excited about what's coming up next week. There's a very big MG Biz conference in Las Vegas. The last few years it's been held at the Rio Hotel, but now it's gotten so big it's moving over to the convention center, and it's really the go-to event in the cannabis industry if you want to learn about how to grow marijuana, or you want to learn about the pick and shovel end of the business, and even the legal part of the business. And that brings us to our very special guest on this segment 2 on this Saturday morning, Jennifer Sanders, who will be speaking at the MJ BizCon next Thursday, and we'll get more specifics on that. But her specialty is talking about cross-border partnerships, investment opportunities, and so forth. I believe that's the panel she's going to be on. And thank you, Jennifer, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited, and very excited for next week.
You have over 15 years of experience in doing this, and you've worked with CNS Equity Partners and Aura Venture Funds, and you really have a lot of very interesting background here, leveraging your experience in alternative agriculture and the holistic health industry. So this should be a really interesting presentation. So let's talk a little bit about how really complex this cannabis industry really is.
Yes. Well, it was certainly humbling the first couple years. I've been in the industry now for about 3 years. Was a financial advisor, went into operations and then compliance management for institutional investment firms, international banks, and thought, my goodness, cannabis, no problem. They just need a little bit of help on the compliance and risk management side. Well, it is definitely a challenge, and working in the interstate environment and then international environment, it definitely poses a lot of challenges and operational risk to people in the industry. But from an investment perspective, it actually presents a lot of opportunity for people as companies are constantly looking for capital, constantly looking for growth and expansion with very little ability to go to traditional lending or traditional asset management. So those who can do, great risk management, find good quality, value-based investments, there's a lot of opportunity.
There's so much interest in the Canadian market because of the legal difference, obviously, up there versus in the U.S. Let's talk a little bit about the opportunities in Canada, and then maybe we could talk a little bit about what's going on here in the U.S., because I know there's still a lot of reservation on the part of investors here in the U.S.
I love Canada, and I love some of the companies that are making some headway in Canada, especially in the Calgary, Alberta province. What's great about Canada is they've had a really stable regulatory environment for a lot longer than we have here in the U.S., and that stability has led for companies to really grow. There's quite a lot traded on the Toronto Stock Exchange. The valuations are a lot more attractive than you're seeing on those that are traded here in the U.S. markets, the New York Stock Exchange. So I think that there's some interesting opportunities in Canada. My concern with Canada is always going to be how big of a reach are they really going to have in terms of either distributing, selling, growing companies within their own framework within Canada, or what are their international opportunities. And I think Canada is making a lot of headway with states in the United States. There's a lot of Canadian investors now coming to the U.S. market, but I think they're trying to go a lot more international and taking a look at how to export and import cannabis and hemp into Canada, because the U.S. is not really doing that at the moment, of course.
Well, my understanding is so many of the investment dollars that have gone into the Canadian stocks and startups have come from the U.S. Is that what you've seen?
I have also seen the same thing. They're seeing that market and that regulatory framework is a lot more advantageous for them from a risk perspective. Again, there's a lot more flexibility in processing, manufacturing, and selling the product. There's a lot of robust brands that are coming out of Canada. They're taking a really strong look at the medical properties and the efficacy of these products, and I think that they're definitely leading it in terms of North America.
There was a huge deal this past week, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of discussion about it at the conference, the Constellation Brands investment in Canopy Growth. Can we talk about that a little bit? I just think that was a game changer.
It was the first of many to fall. I think it was really exciting and very buzzworthy to see such a large company coming in to take a real stake in the space, saying, you know what, we don't really care about the reputational risk. We see this as a viable financial opportunity to expand our brand. It's the first of many. I think you're going to see probably 2 or 3 more very large either mergers, acquisitions, or partnerships in the next year for sure.
Any hints about who might be involved? There's always been discussion that Philip Morris is out there hanging in the wings somewhere.
Yeah, we employ a lobbying firm in the East Coast in the United States, and the buzz around everything is always the tobacco industry. I would not be surprised to see something come out of that.
Frankly, even though I was very pleased to see this happen with Constellation Brands, and I've sort of been writing about this for many years with regard to the big players coming into the market, liquor and so forth. I didn't think liquor would be the first one in there. I mean, if I had to place bets, Jennifer, I would have said it would have been, Philip Morris, one of the tobacco companies jumping into this industry. When Constellation Brands came out, it just really, I was pleasantly surprised, and I thought it could ultimately happen, but so I guess we got to be watching all the other liquor companies here. Maybe they're setting a precedent, and tobacco is waiting. It's really crazy.
It is, and in Las Vegas, where I'll be next week, we're seeing most of the distribution licenses going to liquor wholesalers. So there's definitely some sort of alliance being forged there. I guess we'll see how that continues to grow.
Jennifer, we only have about 30 seconds or so. If our listeners want to get in touch with you, what's the best way of doing that?
Absolutely. I would go to cnsequitypartners.com or Aura Venture Funds or auraventures.com. We create portfolios that are taking a look at diversified holdings in the cannabis and non-cannabis space, predominantly holistic health. And
for our listeners who will be attending, or hopefully will be attending the conference next week, exactly when are you speaking?
I'm speaking on Thursday morning, and I'm speaking on a panel related to cross-border opportunities, U.S.-Canadian branding, brand management, and investment opportunities.
All right, well, I'll be there, too, so I'll be looking forward to hearing you, and hopefully all of you out there have a chance to attend the MJ Biz Conference next week. It will be huge, and it's really a go-to event in this industry. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you at the conference.
Thank you. Hope to. See you soon.
Well, as you know, I do produce the Cannabis Spice newsletter and have for the last almost 4 years. And this is the play, folks. This is the conference. So if you have an opportunity or interest in the sector, try to make it to Las Vegas. Don't touch your dial. We'll be back after the break with Kyle Dennis and Harry Boxer.
Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. Here, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market tsunami. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required, and no one will call. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw report and Gold News Raw report at wallstreetraw.com.
Back pain doesn't take vacations. It never celebrates holidays. It's on the job 24/7 to keep your life exactly where it is, in limbo. But it doesn't have to be that way, because Laser Spine Institute can help you take back your life from chronic neck and back pain. With a less than 1-inch incision, our minimally invasive procedures have provided relief to over 60,000 patients with a 97% patient satisfaction rate. So get ready to stand tall and live the life you've imagined for yourself without pain. Are you or a loved one suffering from a bulging disc, herniated disc, spinal stenosis, pinched nerve, or degenerative disc disease? Call our spine care consultants now at
855-510-BACK.
For a no-cost MRI review and to learn more. It's time to say goodbye to chronic neck and back pain.
Call 855-510-BACK to see if laser spine surgery is right for you. That's 855-510-BACK.
What have you got to lose? Laser Spine Institute, the leader in minimally invasive spine surgery.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years from My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw. Want to know more about Wall Street Raw and the Leibovit VR newsletters? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday morning. I'm your host, Mark Leibovit, and thank you again for tuning in. And we have our always regular and very special guest, Harry Boxer, joining us from the techtrader.com. Harry was kind enough to spend a few minutes with us last week at the Traders Expo in Vegas, and hopefully we'll be seeing each other one-on-one at some future conference. But in the meantime, I'm happy to have him on the show. Harry, thank you again for joining us. Exciting week here. Market's starting to pull back a little bit.
Well, we got a pretty good hit, and now we rallied back to resistance. And if we don't close well today, I was just telling my subscribers that I felt, from a technical standpoint, if we don't take out 63.15 and 25.86 on the S&P, which is key resistance now at the gaps and the moving averages, with the breakdown, this could be leg 1 and 2. So we can see a 3, 4, 5 coming down to get us down to 6,200. That's 100 points from here on the NDX. at least like 2560 or about 20 points on the S&P. That's the minimum projection I have. So that would be only if we don't break back out again. And if we close weak today, I would anticipate lower futures over the weekend or Monday and maybe coming down. I think the market does not like to delay in the tax cuts. They hate that. That's what it appears to me.
Right. Some of the models I'm following say we're in a negative cyclical period here as well. We're starting to see some downside volume to come in, and some of the leaders, not the last day or so, the last few days, started to break. Watching Tesla come down and Priceline come down. So some interesting warning signs there, I think. No.
Yeah, I mean, no question. If you look at Priceline, it's got kind of a massive head and shoulders top. But on the other hand, you have Apple and Facebook and some of the others are near all-time record highs, if not new ones. So NVIDIA hit 219 today or something, 218. That's a new all-time high. So we got some good stuff happening with a lot of stocks. We have some negatives. It's got a very mixed picture. Stock pickers market. For example, the advanced declines on New York and NASDAQ. There's more up-down volume on NASDAQ and there's more down volume on New York. So it's a very mixed picture. It almost smacks of turning. Could be distribution. So I'm concerned. That we have had an 8-year bull market and without any big hits, and that right now the market could be setting up for one. So it's always disconcerting to see that. And you got to really be careful individually. There's an incredible amount of volatility. I watched 2 stocks go up more than 400% or 500% in a couple of days. One in the container ships area, one in the Chinese group. It's just like rank speculation. A lot of times you'll see that at market tops too, so got to be careful up here. Yeah, a lot of those low price names, like in the container shipping area, are really signs of speculation. That's normally the case. DCIX went from under 2 to over 19 in one day.
Right.
And I had another stock that yesterday went from 245 to almost 7 in the Chinese sector, China recycling. It's just, rank speculation. They trade millions of shares. People, they trade them in and out. And, that's not a good sign. Let's put it this way. There's no quality market leadership. That's what you need to have.
All right, we have about 60 seconds. Any favorites here that you'd like to talk about?
Well, I got one little low-price stock in the virtual reality area that makes the headsets called Kopin, K-O-P-N. It's a cheap stock that I just think is in a bottoming phase here. And I think it's a double or triple in the next year. So it's something to look at for longer-term investment, trading at about $3.35. It's up 12 cents today, about 4%. But that's the kind of stock I just think is fly once it gets going. And that's what I'm focusing on now for some of my people in a low-price sector. But there's quite a few stocks that I'm following right now that I put new swings on recently. A couple of those the sand fracking stocks like Silica. A biotech stock I really like, Collegium, C-O-L-L. Nectar's another, NKTR, and RXDX, ADMS, and Juno. All of those are biotech stocks that I'm favoring right now.
Harry, great. Thank you for all those ideas. Harry Boxer from thetechtrader.com. We'll be back with Harry next week. And, Harry, have a great weekend. Thank you for the ideas.
Thank you. Talk to you next week.
We're going to join our good friend Kyle Dennis, who's been patiently waiting on the line, and we're always happy to have Kyle on the show. He's a biotech strategist for RagingBull.com. Always some great trading ideas and intermediate ideas as well. Kyle, thank you again for joining us.
It's always a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Mark.
Okay, so the biotech index looks like it bottomed. You were looking for that pullback. We talked about that last week, and even I keep bringing it up, and my apologies for this, but even a big name like Gilead looks like it might have bottomed here too. And I know you've been really hot on that stock, but what's your pleasure? What's going on in the biotech sector?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. The IBB, the biotech index, it's pulled back like we suspected, and that's leading me into a bunch of new names to look at. I did want to revisit one of the ones we talked about, I would say it was 2 weeks ago with your listeners. Oncosec, ONCS, had some good cancer trial data, and the stock went from, it's a little stock, it went from $1 to about $2.50. So really big gain. I hope a lot of you guys paid attention to that one. But that's the power of a lot of these catalysts. One that I'm looking at here is Cytokinetics. It's about a $12.50 or so stock. Symbol there is CYTK. They have some important phase 3 data coming up at a medical conference in early December. So I own it here, actually. I have 1,000 shares at an average price of about $12.50. And I think this one's going to have a nice little run to it over the next 2-3 weeks into that important ALS data. If the data comes out positive, this could be very huge for the stock. Now, as you know, my strategy never really involves holding through the actual data, but just playing the run-up. So for me, I think that $12.50 seems like a good value as an entry point, and my target would be about $14 to $15 region in the next few weeks. And if the data does hit, I think it could be pretty significant and go up 50%, but I personally won't be playing that.
What's so interesting about what Kyle does, folks, is he looks at the charts, but he also looks for what he calls catalytic events that trigger moves in the stock, and in this particular case, anticipating conferences and presentations that the companies make, and the stocks seem to really conform to his theory, where he gets a combination of factors here, not just looking at the chart. So doing his homework is really the big thing, Kyle, and I really appreciate those insights. So we have about 10 seconds. So if our listeners want to get in touch with you, best way is at ragingbull.com, correct?
Yeah, ragingbull.com. You can even email me personally at kyle@biotechbreakouts.com. That's a great place just to shoot me an email.
Great. Kyle, thank you again for taking a couple of minutes with us. It's always a pleasure having you on the show. And with that hot biotech sector, we definitely appreciate your participation on the program. Thanks again. Talk to you next week.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you again, Kyle. And, it's been a wild week here in those little biotech stocks. If you check some of these low-price names that Kyle's been talking about, there's some nice percentage trades there. But if you're looking for a bigger name, I know he's been talking about that Gilead for a while, and we've had it in our newsletter as well, GILD. And, that could be, as Kyle says, potentially a $100 stock down the road. It's around $73.50. So keep an eye on that one. And we trade it at vrtrader.com. Don't touch your dial. We're going to be back after the break with our good friend Sinclair Now.
Listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. At wallstreetraw.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market crash. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at wallstreetraw.com. That's wallstreetraw.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep REM sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry my pillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever. You can buy one of my pillows and get one absolutely free.
Go to mypillow.com or call 800-870-0305 and use promo code GCN. That's mypillow.com or 800-870-0305 with promo code GCN.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest price filtration systems in every size for incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency. Get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
When you have sleep apnea, traveling can be a real drag because you have to drag your big, bulky home CPAP device with you everywhere you go. But not anymore. Now you can travel easily and sleep comfortably anywhere thanks to Transcend, the world's very first mini CPAP. And right now, you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. So call now, 1-800-962-5369. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. You can even add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so incredibly small and light, you can easily fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant, too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't delay. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-962-5369. Again, that's 1-800-962-5369.
Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon you'll need a plan and place to survive. Forget bunkers. You're not a live underground gopher. You need survivalist camps, the ultimate fully functional, off-the-grid mobile survival bug-out house that's well-equipped and custom-built to outlast any other RV or trailer. Bold statement? You bet. See them now at survivalistcamps.com. That's survivalistcamps.com. Trust your family's survival to survivalistcamps.com.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
There is no freedom without the law.
Get it? Got it? Good.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw and the final segment with Mark Leibovit. Now, here's the elf himself.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday, November 11th, and we always try to save the best for last, and we have that in this particular case with our good friend Sinclair No from KFNN 1510 Phoenix, and author of what I call the incomparable blog, EatTheBankers.com. Sinclair, thank you for joining us on this Saturday morning.
Mark, always a pleasure. Thank you, and I'd like to thank all the veterans that are listening in for their service as well, and hope everybody has a very good Veterans Day today.
Oh, great. Thank you for mentioning that, Sinclair. I overlooked that. Thank you. We have so much to cover. Last week we dwelled a bit on the tax plan, and everybody's sort of holding their breath here to see whether it passes or not. The stock market doesn't seem to be too happy about it.
No, the market responded fairly negatively this week as the Senate came out with their version of the plan. And it's very different, by the way, from the House version. So we now have these two competing bills, and they're going to have to figure out what stays and what goes. That'll be done in the coming, well, that's part of the question, how long it will take. One of the big things that really upset Wall Street, though, was that the Senate version pushes back the corporate tax cuts to January 2019. Now, they're still looking at essentially the same cuts as the House, from 35% rate down to 20%, but they're talking about pushing it back to 2019. And part of the reason for that is because, quite frankly, this bill, or bills, if you will, it looks like they're going to blow a big hole in the budget. This thing just doesn't seem to add up. We've got either way, the House or Senate version is going to blow a massive hole in debt. And so they've got to figure out a way to do something about that, because if they don't get it down to where it's just $1.5 trillion in red ink in the first 10 years, then they lose the budget reconciliation. The legislation would then be subject to a 60-vote threshold under the Senate rules, and that, of course, would likely result in failure.
A lot of action this past week with regard to the jitters regarding Saudi Arabia's sweeping anti-graft purge. And as a result, it appears that we've had a nice premium come into crude oil because of concerns in that part of the world. Meanwhile, a new set of data taken from the offshore law firms that we're researching here show an exposed hidden wealth of individuals around the world. And we've talked about this in the last couple of years, Sinclair, the Panama Papers, and what
that's right.
And what that's revealing now. What are your insights here? It's really amazing what we're hearing.
Well, this is a follow-up to the Panama Papers, looking at a different location. It's the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. They came out with the Panama Papers, which they basically found offshore accounts through Panamanian law firms. Now they're going through what is basically I believe it's Bermuda law firm called Appleby, and they're finding just tons more of these offshore accounts that were set up for just about everybody you can think of. Now, there may be a legitimate reason to have an offshore account, and that's fine if you're doing business in another country, and this might be an effective way to facilitate a transaction. Okay, no big deal. But the way that a lot of people use it, quite frankly, is to evade taxes, which can be a big deal. And everybody's doing it these days. I mean, this just shows so many people are involved in these offshore accounts that it's absolutely ridiculous.
We have a huge list. We have a huge list.
Oh, massive list. Everybody from the Queen of England to several of Trump's inner circle, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, Economic Advisor Gary Cohn, Jim Simons, he is Renaissance Technologies hedge fund, Robert Mercer, another donor, Blackstone Group, Stephen Schwartzman, Bank of Utah, Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross, Glencore, the commodities trader, even Bono from U2, the musical group. He had an offshore account that they ran across. Now, there's probably nothing wrong with some of this. As I say, this is legal stuff. But for a lot of these people, there's probably a lot of tax evasion going on here. Which, by the way, the new tax bills do not address.
Okay. Well, jumping over to the banks behaving badly, the HSB criminal case, which was going way back to 2012, seems to have raised its ugly head here again this past week with regard to the Manafort, the Gates indictment and so forth. Any thoughts about that? HSBC just doesn't go away.
Did you ever think it would?
Okay.
Remember, HSBC is the company that had the problems in Mexico, where basically they were setting up these special windows for the drug cartels so that they could launder money there. I'm not particularly surprised. It's one thing after another. And again, I get back to this idea that everybody is doing it. Everybody with enough money to do it, at least, seems to be involved in this process of trying to skirt the law whenever they can.
Well, for the most part, they're trying to save some tax dollars, I suppose. Yeah. Right.
So that everybody else can pay. Thank you.
Okay. So what's on the Eat the Bankers agenda for next week, Sinclair? What's coming up?
Well, we're going to be keeping an eye, of course, on the markets and see where we go with this tax bill. Right now, I think everything is on Wall Street has to do with the tax bill. Is it going to pass or not? Is it going to crumble? Is it going to be delayed? But as we keep an eye on equities, also keep an eye on the bond markets, and in particular keep an eye on the junk bond market. we have seen yields jumping up rather significantly as of late, from about 3.5 to 3.9% spread from junk bonds to treasuries. And there are several firms that are coming out now and saying that there are some problems. Things are starting to deteriorate. And there's some big challenges. And we saw that with some recent junk bond borrowers, junk-rated borrowers, iHeart, CenturyLink, Community Health Systems. They posted disappointing earnings. Don't be surprised if it carries over to some of the retailers as well. Keep an eye on that.
Okay, great, Sinclair. Thank you so much for joining us. Sinclair No from KFN 1510 Phoenix and author of the great blog, eatthebankers.com. And I'm sure we're going to have plenty to talk about next week with that tax plan and how the markets are going to react to it or not to it. Thank you again.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Mark.
Well, next week is a big week if you're interested in the cannabis marijuana space. And as you know, we had Jennifer Sanders on earlier in the show, but the big show is in Vegas beginning on Tuesday, and I will be there and broadcasting from there. And it's one of the sectors that we follow. You know, we follow cryptocurrencies in the major markets, but this has been a big winner for us. And particularly that big move, I talked about that with Jennifer earlier in the program this past week with Constellation Brands and Canopy Growth. Again, this was really a major event in the industry. We finally got a big player like Constellation Brands. We thought it was going to be Philip Morris or someone like that kind of getting involved, but this is, $200 stock, and big company, one of the largest liquor companies, if not the largest in North America, purchasing a substantial position in Canopy. So as Jennifer indicated, there's going to be a lot more of that coming. And, whether you believe in cannabis or marijuana or not, it's a stock and they trade, and we're out there trying to look for opportunities, so we have no qualms about talking about that group. And as we do each week, we close our show as what our old friend used to say, Ed Hart, on the old Financial News Network decades ago: we will know in the fullness of time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for listening to Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week Alf, Mark Leibovit. If you missed any of today's show or to get in touch with Mark, please go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Any stocks or investment discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. We first recommend you seek out a licensed financial professional for advice. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week Elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. Here, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market tsunami. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required, and no one will call. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw report and Gold News Raw report at wallstreetraw.com.
If you or someone you care about loves outdoor adventure, then check out slingbow.com for some unique holiday gift ideas. That's slingbow.com, where we have some innovative new products for the archer, hunter, or bow fishing enthusiast in your family. Now through January, use the promo code HOLIDAY to get free shipping in the U.S. or Canada. And from all of us at Slingbow Industries, have a safe, joyous, and peaceful holiday season.
Hello, Mr. Anderson. The NSA has noticed how much time you spend on conservative news sites. We have no choice but to consider you a domestic terrorist.
Tired of your internet activity being monitored by Big Brother? Get VirtualShield.com, the world's easiest to use virtual private network. Browse the web anonymously, leaving pesky advertisers and spies in the dust. Get started today at VirtualShield.com. Take advantage of our free 30-day trial. VirtualShield.com. You have the right to remain private.